Driven by the intense rivalry with America, the Soviets were elated when, on April 12, 1961, Yuri Gagarin made history, becoming the first human in space and the first to orbit the Earth. It was the main event of 1961. The flight was considered a major political victory for the Soviet Union, as the United States didn't put a man into space until Alan Shepard's orbital flight just a few weeks later on May the 5th. The Soviet cosmonaut flew into orbit aboard the Soviet spacecraft Vostok 1. After 2 years of top-secret training, he made a single orbit of Earth in 108 minutes and traveled at over 27,000 kilometers per hour. The 27-year-old grabbed the world's headlines and captured the imagination and hearts of a generation. He returned not only a hero of the Soviet Union, but of the world. Gagarin was born on March 9, 1934, to Alexei, a carpenter by trade, and Anna. The third of 4 children, there was no electricity or running water on the collective farm where the family toiled to make a modest living. Interested in space and planets from a young age, Yuri attended the local school for 6 years and continued his education at a technical high school. Having joined the Russian Air Force as a military fighter pilot in 1955, Gagarin was selected with 19 other cosmonauts for the Soviet space program in 1960. Along with the other prospective cosmonauts, he was subjected to experiments designed to test his physical and psychological endurance. Of the 20 selected, Gagarin and fellow cosmonaut German Titov were both contenders for the flight due to their high standard of performance during training. Training consisted of space navigation, rocket propulsion, physiology, astronomy, and upper atmospheric physics. The cosmonauts were trained on special devices to accustom them to the physiological stresses of spaceflight. But Gagarin was chosen. He was capable and even-tempered. He represented the ideal Soviet man, a peasant farmer who became a highly trained cosmonaut in a few short years. The launch took place at 9:07 a.m. Moscow time on April 12, 1961, with Gagarin crying out, "Here we go!" moments after liftoff. The spacecraft was controlled from the ground, as it was unknown if spaceflight would affect Gagarin's physical and mental reactions. No public announcement was made of the event until it was confirmed that the spacecraft had actually achieved orbital status. He orbited the Earth once, flying for just over an hour. While in orbit, Gagarin was promoted from the rank of senior lieutenant to major. During his one orbit around the Earth, he ate, drank, and monitored the capsule systems, while also evaluating his own ability to observe shapes and features on the surface of the Earth. At launch, Gagarin had been exposed to about 6 times the normal force of gravity. He ejected from the spacecraft at an altitude of 7 kilometers, parachuting into a field near Saratov in Russia. The mission proved that humans could survive in space and return safely to Earth. It wasn't just his rank that changed when he touched down. After the flight, Gagarin became a worldwide celebrity and the USSR's #1 ambassador. He embarked on a world tour with appearances all over the globe to promote the Soviet achievement. He had become the most famous man in the world and was far too valuable to the USSR to fly in space again. Gagarin then became Deputy Training Director at the Cosmonaut Training Base. On March 27, 1968, he died in a plane crash outside Moscow while on a routine training flight. Yuri Gagarin's successful spaceflight was one of the pivotal events of the 20th century. As so often in history, this trailblazing achievement served to inspire dreams of a bigger world and a better tomorrow.